What's happening, y'all? It's your boy Q Monster here, back at it once again. So, I've been hearing about some deleted scenes in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and they was talking about Nightmare. Nightmare was supposed to be in this, which I was kind of hoping when I first saw this movie. I was hoping they was gonna have Nightmare. I thought Nightmare was gonna be the main bad, but they ended up making Wanda the main bad. Actually, spoiler alert, that's a spoiler. You know, Wanda was the big bad and everything, if anybody had not seen it. I'm pretty sure everybody must have seen it already, but just saying, just want to put that out there. But let's go ahead and check out these deleted scenes, man. Because this movie, I would have gave this movie a higher rating, you know, if it would have added some more stuff. And still, I don't understand why would they bring American Chavez. Like, that was a waste of time. You know, nobody did not really ask for that character. I sure did not really ask for it, so I don't know about anybody else, but nobody else didn't want to ask about this character. I mean, nobody didn't want this character in this damn film. I mean, this is all about Doctor Strange. This is his second sequel, you know, so I was hoping to see something, you know, more interesting other than American Chavez. But let's go ahead and check this mug out, man. Cosmic Wonder. I'm already subscribed to this man. No, I have not been doing no reaction on him, but I've been hearing some news here and there off screen with him talking about this stuff. So I kind of thought to myself, I was like, man, I need to start just doing a lot more reactions so I can keep up with all the news what he's talking about. But let's go ahead and do it. What is going on with this?
Warren Thompson, and it looks like we were robbed quite a bit with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Recently, it has been revealed that they cut two really cool scenes from Multiverse of Madness, one of them involving another fight between the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, and possibly even more evil variants of Doctor Strange. But the other deleted scene involves Nightmare, one of the most popular Doctor Strange villain, who we thought was going to be the main villain of this movie, who was supposed to be the villain of the first movie, but didn't end up in either of the films. Although we did think he was going to be at least a villain in this movie, especially with the tease of Doctor Strange saying that every day he has the same nightmare, the same with Wanda, it did certainly seem like they were setting up the villain Nightmare to make at least an appearance. However, it looks like in the end they decided to go with the Scarlet Witch being the main villain of the movie. But today we actually have a look at what it could have been like if Nightmare was indeed in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, including what is a deleted scene that was cut from the movie involving Doctor Strange, Nightmare, and his sister, who died falling through the ice that they briefly mentioned at the end of Multiverse of Madness. Now, for those of you who don't know, originally, Nightmare was supposed to be the main villain of Doctor Strange #1. Scott Derrickson directed the first movie, and they wanted to do Nightmare, but they decided to leave it for Doctor Strange 2. And I don't know if some of you remember this, but originally, Scott Derrickson was supposed to direct Doctor Strange 2, and Doctor Strange 2 was truly supposed to be the MCU's first horror film. And this is something that Scott Derrickson really wanted to do. So the villain Nightmare was really a perfect fit. However, due to creative differences, Scott Derrickson backed out of the project. Now, from what we understand, the creative differences were Scott Derrickson really wanted a true horror film, but Kevin Feige, of course, said, this still needs to be PG-13. We can't go for stuff that you want to do. Based off of everything that we've heard, that's what happened. So then they brought in Sam Raimi, and honestly, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of...
See, Kevin, I gotta pause this. See, Kevin Feige, man, this dude is screwing up, man. He is screwing up, like, seriously. Like, that would have been cool, you know what I'm saying, if we would have had, like, you know, our first horror movie of Marvel. We could have had that. Like I said, I mean, if that would have happened, I would have gave this movie a higher rating. But nope, damn Kevin Feige wanted to go ahead and water it down and not make it to a scary movie and everything, and end up putting Wanda the main villain. It's like, come on, man. Wanda could have been like a side villain to me. You know, Nightmare could have been the main villain. They should have went with that direction, but whatever, man. Let's continue.
was still pretty creepy. But we didn't see Nightmare in the movie, however we almost did, but they cut it out of the movie. But here we have some actual photos from what would have been in the movie, and some photos of Nightmare and how he would have looked if we saw him in Multiverse of Madness. Now this is set design here using figures, so as you can see here, we have Doctor Strange standing on a frozen lake, and we have Nightmare standing on a horse in front of him. Now we'll go back to this in just a second, but first let's go to this look at Nightmare in the book. Now, this is what Marvel Studios labeled this book. It says Nightmare Character Ancient Text and Illustrations. This is something apparently labeled as a dream codex, and it shows Nightmare in what looks to be medieval armor riding a horse. There's a lot of drawings also in the background. In the upper left, it seems like it could be the cycles of the moon, but we also do have another page of this dream codex that looks a little bit different, showing him in different armor. This one looks a lot more cool, and it actually shows him in samurai armor, riding more of a traditional horse, and he has 4 horns on his head. And there's a lot of text on this book that is really just too small to make out, but here we are getting our first look at what Nightmare would have looked like in Multiverse of Madness. But going back to Doctor Strange and Nightmare being on the frozen lake, here we have actually multiple scales of the set that they were designing. And here's where we find out what the scene with Nightmare was originally intended to be in the film before they actually made the decision to cut it. And it does appear to be a scene on a frozen lake with Doctor Strange's sister, Donna Strange. Now, like I said, they ultimately did kind of mention this scene at the end of Doctor Strange where he's fighting with Sinister Strange. Doctor Strange talks about the time where he was on the lake with his sister, Donna, who would go on to fall through the ice and sadly die. Now, that happens no matter what. However, here, it looks like Nightmare is sort of haunting Doctor Strange and giving him nightmares about when his sister died and the fact that Doctor Strange could not save her. But the coolest thing here is it actually looks like Doctor Strange was going to fight Nightmare. We see Nightmare on the horse, and it looks like he is wearing the costume and the armor from the second design, the more samurai looking armor, and across from him we see Doctor Strange ready to fight. So sadly, it looks like we were deprived of a Doctor Strange versus Nightmare fight. Now, like I mentioned, they originally teased us with Nightmare in the trailers where we heard Doctor Strange and Wanda say Nightmare. So it's probably safe to assume that they did really intend on this scene being in the movie, but as we know, they cut multiple scenes. And Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was only a little bit over 2 hours long. It was relatively short compared to what we've gotten recently from Marvel Studios. But perhaps they are saving this scene for another Doctor Strange movie. Clea has now been introduced into the MCU. We know that incursions are happening, so we know that we are going to be getting a Doctor Strange 3, and even though there's going to be a lot going on with those incursions and such, they're still going to need a villain, and perhaps Nightmare has just been pushed back to Doctor Strange 3. Hopefully we get Nightmare at some point in time, because in this picture, in this book, he does look pretty awesome. And now Doctor Strange honestly has even more things to have nightmares about. Christine Palmer is now married. He had to essentially kill himself, even though it was an evil variant, and he had to watch a lot of sorcerers die at the hands of Wanda. So Nightmare could definitely still be used in another film, so fingers crossed that we see him. Now, there was another scene that was cut from this movie that involved a fight between Doctor Strange, America Chavez, and the Scarlet Witch. And I think I would have actually been more interested in seeing this scene than what we got on the screen. In the movie, America Chavez gets scared, she opens up a portal, and her and Doctor Strange go through the portal. No one else. The Scarlet Witch doesn't go through, Wong doesn't go through, it is just Doctor Strange and America Chavez. They go through a bunch of different universes until they eventually land into the universe where the Illuminati exist and they meet Mordo. But sadly, we found out that this scene was originally supposed Wanda. Now, we did kind of get Undead Strange fighting Wanda, but we didn't get a full-on Doctor Strange at his best fighting Wanda. In this scene, the Star Portal opens and Strange and the Scarlet Witch jump in the portal after America Chavez. They released a ton of concept art for this fight right here, and as you can see, we do have Doctor Strange and Wanda going toe-to-toe. Now, this would have been quite the scene because, as we know, Wanda is pretty much just a pure raw magic, raw power user. That is how she fights. But Doctor Strange is a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more skilled. He's not as powerful as Wanda, but he is a little bit more knowledgeable all about magic. Now, ultimately, this scene would have been sorcery versus witchcraft, which would have been some pretty dang cool stuff to see. However, sadly, they went a different route for whatever reason. Ultimately, Strange and America Chavez would be the only ones to go through the portal, and Wanda would remain at the Carmitage. And from there, she would torture poor Wong and use the Darkhold to dreamwalk. Perhaps that couldn't have happened if this scene happened, since Wanda wasn't there, although she could have always just gone back. Just the pure, raw strength of Wanda's magic kind of makes it to where she can pretty much do almost anything she wants. And if she wanted to go back to the Carmitage after traveling through the multiverse, it probably wouldn't have been too hard. However, she would have needed America Chavez to somehow open up a portal for her to get back, and that's where the problem lies, and that is probably why this scene was ultimately scrapped. However, I do wish we would have gotten a fight scene like this of Wanda going up against Doctor Strange, one-on-one, toe-to-toe, both in their normal states, not Doctor Strange as a zombie. I would have loved to see that, and I definitely think we were robbed, but hey, let me know what you think about these two deleted scenes that we didn't get in Multiverse of Madness. Would you have liked to have seen them? And perhaps maybe we will even get a nightmare scene and a nightmare villain in a future Doctor Strange movie. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out.
Yep, we definitely got robbed, Cosmic. We definitely got robbed. See, this is why most fans out there, including myself, are just disappointed in Marvel with their decisions that they be making on here. Because they are not, looking at the full picture, you know what I'm saying? Like, they are really not looking at the full picture of what's going on. And plus, you're just gonna keep on upsetting fans and everything, just because y'all working for Disney and everything, which I was still against that in the first place when I first heard about that news that Marvel and Disney gonna be merging, which that was like a big red huge flag right there. But here they go. They want to keep on watering down these characters, downplaying them and everything. And then, the more you keep on doing that, the more you're going to keep on dividing fans. And, all the fans is going to be pissed off and they don't want to watch this stuff no more. Because of the dumb decisions y'all be doing. Like, come on, man. Like, that would be cool, seeing Nightmare, on a horse, looking like a samurai, him and Doctor Strange going at it. Man, that would be dope, bro. I would have gave this movie a higher rating if I would have saw that, if I would have seen that. But here we are, People want to make dumb decisions after dumb decisions. But I guess. But anyways, post your comments down below. I really want to know what you guys think, man. What do y'all think about this? Would it have been a good idea, had Nightmare, the main villain, instead of Wanda? Let me know what's up, man. I want to know if y'all agree with me or you don't agree with me, That's what I really want to know down in the comment section below. And if you enjoy my reaction, make sure you hit that like button and always subscribe it and share it. And I'll catch you guys later. Deuces.